Hello, stamping friends. It's Angie here with Too Cool Stamping. I'm so glad to be with you today. I am an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and if you do not already have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. Thank you so much for joining me. Today we have a really awesome live class, and we are going to, I just couldn't let Sale-a-Bration go by without playing with the Delicate Dahlias stamp set because it is beautiful. It is so beautiful. It's one of those stamp sets that you can't go wrong. You can't stamp it in a wrong way. Everything that you make with it looks beautiful. So I had to do a class with that before we end. And speaking of Sale-a-Bration, it's almost over. There's only 1 week left. That means you need to get your orders in this week to qualify for those free items. Remember, if you don't already have the Sale-a-Bration Flyer, you can go to my website, toocoolstamping.com, and you can click on a link and see that flyer online. If not, if you might already have this in your hands, and if you do, then you know that for every $50 order or $100 order, you can choose a free item. For the Delicate Dahlias, it's actually a $100 order that you need to earn this beautiful set, but it is so worth it because there's no other word for it. It's beautiful, it's gorgeous. So but there's other ones in here for $50 order. You can get, there's different papers you can get, different stamp sets, some dies to go along with one of the stamp sets. But for this particular class, the Delicate Dahlias earned with a $100 order. Now, don't forget, there's also that awesome starter kit deal. And that's going to end at the end of the month as well. And that is, the normal starter kit is $99. You can choose $125 worth of product of your choice, anything you want out of the mini catalog or the annual catalog. And you're going to get, with Sale-a-Bration, you're going to get a free bundle. So you can go to the back of the Sale-a-Bration Flyer. It's on page 19. And there is a list here of 12 different stamp sets from the mini catalog that you can choose from for your free bundle. And there's some really good ones in there. So you have up to like a $50-some value just for getting that bundle. So definitely worth signing up. Plus you're gonna get free shipping like you usually would on a starter kit order. And it means you're part of the Too Cool team, and all of your future orders are going to be discounted by 20%. So that's an amazing thing in and of itself. If you have a big wish list, if you're a new stamper and you have tons and tons of things that you need to get or want to get, if you consistently make larger orders, you're going to want to save money. If you're not already saving, this is how you do it. It's kind of like the Costco of Stampin' Up. So you buy into Stampin' Up with your starter kit, and then you can get that discount. And I know many people out there might be hesitant because they're thinking, well, I don't want to do classes, and I don't want to do what you're doing and do videos and try to sell to people. You don't have to. You don't have to. I have the majority of the people on my team, I would say more than 85, maybe even 90% of the people on my team are happy discount shoppers, hobbyists, just like you. They want the discount. That's typically the reason that people sign up for that starter kit. So don't be scared of it. It's definitely something I know if you're an enthusiastic stamper like I am, if you love to stamp, way you can save money with that starter kit. And now, before the end of the Sale-a-Bration, is going to be the time you want to do it to get that extra free bundle. So check that out. If you need more information, you can go to toocoolstamping.com, or you can contact me by going there and then clicking on the email link and sending me an email question, and I'll be happy to respond to you there. Okay, let's flip everything around. Oh, I did want to say one more thing. I just remembered. There is one item that is sold out in the Sale-a-Bration catalog. That's the Bedazzled paper. It's beautiful. Everything's beautiful today. It's so glimmering gorgeous, and it's sold out already. So if you're trying to select that one is not available anymore. Sold out, can't get it, gone. And it's very possible, with this being the last week, that there could be other things that also go into sell out and to an early retirement. So everything is while supplies last. Don't wait to purchase what you want to purchase and earn the Sale-a-Bration item that you want to earn. Okay, let's turn the camera around and get started with our class. You're gonna love it. If you love flowers, you're gonna love it, especially. All right, hold on. Okay, and as we do each week, we're gonna have a live class kit that is available with this Delicate Dahlia stamp set. And it's gonna be with a minimum $35 order placed at my toocoolstamping.com website. Just click on the Shop Now link. And don't forget to use that host code. That's really important. That lets me know which kit you are wanting to earn, and that way I can get that out to you. So we're gonna do 5 cards today that I'm gonna show you how to put together, and you can earn a kit with all the supplies that you need to make those 5 cards. And all it takes is that $35 minimum order with that host code. Everything will be available until next Wednesday. I'm trying to remember, I think that's the 29th of September, and then we'll mail it out. The kits will mail out on October 4th. I see we're having a little bit of connectivity issues, so I'm sorry if things are freezing up or slowing down. Every once in a while we have some problems with the internet, but we'll just get through it. I think it should be okay. All right, Delicate Dahlias. You guys, if you love flowers, this is a really, really awesome one to get. I love it not only because there's beautiful images, but it's also a distinctive stamp set. I don't know if you know what distinctive means, but it means it has this, it's a 2-step image here. So you have an outline image and then a fill-in image, but that fill-in image has kind of a dot pattern to it, kind of like newspaper photographs, and that's what makes the photo look more real. So it really provides a lot of depth and detail to those imagery, and it's absolutely gorgeous. So I love those distinctive stamps. I'm going to give you a tip on how to make those come out a little bit clearer, because sometimes they're a little bit tricky and they come out a little bit blotchy, and you may not have gotten the full effect of it before, and I'm going to show you what you can do to help that. So let's get this one's going to start out with a traditional card base. This is Bermuda Bay. All of these card bases are going to be the same this week. They're 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're just going to fold that in half, give it a nice good crease with our bone folder. And then a couple of our cards today are going to use some of the paper from the beautifully penned designer series paper. That's another one of those Sale-a-Bration papers that you can get. This is available with a $50 order, and it's some really pretty black and white paper. Just makes a really nice accent. So this is a 5.5 by 1 inch piece of the striped beautifully penned paper, and then I have another 5.5 by 3/8 inch piece of basic gray, just to kind of add a little finishing touch right above that paper. So there's our background. Now we're going to do some stamping. I have a piece here. Let me give you a measurement. It is 4 1/4 by 3, and I like to use a piercing mat underneath everything that I stamp with photopolymer stamps. That's going to give it a little bit of a firm cushion. It allows that stamp to connect with the paper really well, so you get a nice detailed image. Also down, so that, because I'm going to be stamping off of the edge of the paper, and I don't want to get my piercing mat all inked up. All right, so let's begin with that beautiful large dahlia image. We're going to start, since we have basic gray going on, we're going to start with basic gray. Ink that up nicely. And to help you line it up, this is, the fill image does go right into this outline image. So pick one of these petals. I have a petal up here that I kind of go to, that I use as my lineup petal. So I'm going to go right here on the corner. And let's stamp all of the outline images first. Again, with the smaller flower, there's kind of a flat edge on one side, so that's going to kind of be the one that I line up against. So let's do one here, and then one more up here. And then we're going to add some leaves. Put one over there, maybe just one peeking in, and then one right there. So that gives us a lot of foliage on the and blooms on one side. Let's put our, since we have our basic gray open, we're going to put a sentiment in basic gray right here at the top. We have some nice sentiments in this stamp set as well. Thank you kindly, oh so happy for you, sending heartfelt sympathy, and you inspire me. Really nice sentiments. Okay, let's do the fills for all of these. We're going to start, I'm going to start with the smaller flower. So this is the DisINKtive one. And remember, I'm lining up with that flat edge, and you can see right through there. I kind of have the camera in the way, so I may not get it right where I need it. Trying to remember how I had that. There we go. And this is Mango Melody, by the way. A nice bright pop of color. Next, we're going to do the large flower in Pool Party. And we'll ink that up. Again, I'm looking at this little flower right here, or this little, the petal right here, the shape of it, and I have that same look right here. So you're going to line that up. There's a couple of different very distinct petals, and that goes right there. And then we'll do our leaves in Pear Pizzazz. I love these two-step images because you get all this beautiful color without having to worry about a lot of coloring. You could use, you know, Stampin' Blends, you could use watercolor pencils, you could use Stampin' Write markers, but this just makes it so quick and easy to add the color and get beautiful two-step images. Okay, look at that, how fast that is. And so pretty. Like I said before, you cannot go wrong. These images are just absolutely gorgeous, and you just can't do a lot to mess it up. So I have another piece here. This is going to be 3 1/4 or 3 1/8 by 4 3/8. Let me find my seal that I was using. Okay, we'll use our seal adhesive. And I'm going to just do this a little bit offset, just for fun, like so. We're going to pop that up with some dimensionals. That is something I've never had happen. It took the whole back paper off. So we'll pop up this whole panel. And then put this, we're gonna make it so that the white piece is lined up and then the offset piece is offset. So there's that. We're gonna add just a tiny bit of sparkle. You know we need the sparkle. And I usually have my little my little paper piercing tool that I love. You can use a take your pick tool. I'm not used to using scissors, so I apologize. I might have to go get my piercing tool. I have horrible carpal tunnel right now, so it's hard for me to pick things up and maneuver things sometimes. There we go. These are wonderful gems, by the way. They're in the mini catalog. They were introduced last year as part of the holiday season collection, and they're back this year. But I love those gold tinged wonderful gems. They look beautiful on here. So that is our first card. I love those colors, don't you? Really pretty. I did a too cool version. I usually do. This time I used Pacific Point for my background. I used those same elements in the background, just on a vertical orientation this time. And then this time I stamped pretty much the same look. I just used fresh freesia, soft succulent for the leaves, and that Pacific Point for the flowers. And then we dressed it up with a couple of silver metallic pearls. So those are our two cool versions. And this is the one that we'll have supplies for in your 5-card kit. Okay, next up. This one is another just basic card base. We're starting with Poppy Parade this time. Nice, bold, bright color. And again, we have a piece here of the beautifully penned designer series paper from the Sale-a-Bration selection. This is for that though. I want to do just a little bit of stamping, and I need to change the color. So I'm going to just clean up my stamp here on my Simply Chamois. And then we'll get our Poppy Parade. Whoops. We'll ink that up nicely. We'll do one flower over here. And then another over here. So, so pretty. And then we're going to add that beautifully penned paper. We'll put that right along the center. And we're going to add, while we're here, we'll add some of the, this is Flirty Flamingo metallic ribbon. So pretty. Just going to tie that in a double knot. And then we'll trim the ends off to make a little faux bow. Like so. Bring that over to the edge. So there's our background. Let's do some stamping of that flower again. This time we're going to have a 3 3¼ by 3¼ piece of basic white. And we're going to stamp one more time in that Poppy Parade. It looks like I might have needed to add just a little bit of ink. I feel like this stamp, I've noticed I've had just a little bit of a dip every once in a while with the photopolymer stamps. If you don't get good connection, even with a piercing mat underneath it or a catalog or something like that, if it's just on the table, you get that quite a lot. But if you have kind of a firm cushioning underneath it and you're still getting a little bit of space there, it could be that there's a dip in your stamp, which means it's a little bit defective. So if you're going to talk to Stampin' Up, and we can see if we can get you another stamp. It doesn't happen often. I'm going to try it again to get a little bit better There we go. Look at that, how beautiful that is. You can really see the detail. It's just absolutely gorgeous. All right, we're gonna clean that off because we wanna use a lighter color. We're gonna use that Flirty Flamingo like we have in the ribbon. So let me find that. Here it is. And then I'm just going to stamp that over here. Now I want to show you that this isn't too bad, but every once in a while when you're stamping, I mentioned it earlier, the stamping with the DisINKtive stamps that are very, very detailed, you might get a lot of blotchiness, or it might even come out, let me see if I have one. There's certain ones that it just doesn't come out very detailed, and I just want to give you a tip on how to handle that. So what I do, because it just, with the detail, DisINKtive imagery, there's like a dot pattern on there. You barely need any ink to make it beautiful. So I have a dedicated bone folder that I use for this, and I'm just gonna kind of push away the ink from the middle. Just kind of push it away so there's a little bit less. If it's too juicy, if it has too much ink in the middle, then it's gonna not give you a very good image. You just need a little bit. And you can see, maybe this is on kind of crappy paper, so it's not, that's not very good, but you can see that it has a little bit better of detail, not quite as blotchy paper. But trust me, if you just move a little bit of the ink away from the center of your ink pad, then you can really get a nice detailed image. And then when you're done, just wipe off your bone folder. It's going to stain it, so that's why I have a dedicated one just for that. I also use this when I put ink on my pads. So when your pads are running a little bit dry and you put a little bit of refill ink on, you can spread it around kind of like you're spreading icing on a cake. And that works really well. All right, I have another little tip today, and I noticed I cased this card from Kelly Atchison, and she had some flecks of ink on there. And a lot of times in the past, I've used that technique, like just had a toothbrush that I kind of, like a dry toothbrush that I dip into refill ink and kind of flick it, or have a water painter, aqua painter, water painter that is dipped, that's dry, that I dip in refill ink and kind of just tap it on there. But did you know that you can use Stampin' Blends markers to also get that flecked look? So I'm just using the brush tip end here, and I'm using a bone folder or whatever you want to hit it, and you just kind of tap, 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 tap. Can you see those little flecks? I don't know if it's picking up. You just get a little bit of flecking, very fine, wherever you want it, and just gives you a little bit of texture and detail. Can you see that? Hopefully the camera is picking that up. So that's just a little tip, very easy to do. You don't have to mess with a paintbrush or a toothbrush or water or having flecks going everywhere. That just works really quickly and easily. All right, for our sentiment, we're going to use Memento black ink. And oh, whoops, I don't think I have enough on there. There we go. Oh, so happy for you. That onto a piece of basic black, and that's going to be it's going to be 3 1/8. That's not true. Let me give you the right measurement. The white is 3 1/4, so this is going to be 3 3/8 square. So there's our focal point. Again, we're going to pop that up with some dimensionals. I'm just going to flip that over because I don't want to put any dimensionals where that ribbon is. It gets a little too bulky that way. We don't like that. And we'll add that onto the front. So nice. Okay. And then this time for our sparklies, I'm gonna go get my piercing tool because it's gonna drive me crazy if I can't. Oh, here's one. Hey, I found one. Woohoo! I love it. Okay, these are the champagne rhinestones. So I'm gonna put, kind of like I did with the other card we just did, a larger one, smaller one, and then another small one over here. There we go. And those champagne rhinestones look really pretty with anything that's orange or pink. So there is our second card. Quick and easy. And like I said, I did case this from a card that I received from Kelly Atchison. I think I've already posted about it on my blog, and but I love how she used that stripe paper. She used the crinkle seam binding ribbon, and just one flower, but so pretty. But you can see on hers how she has some flecking going on, and you can do that so easily with those Stampin' Blends. And then she used some sequins from the mini catalog. So this is the card that will be in your 5-card kit. All right, for our third card, we're gonna start with Polished Pink as our card base. This time, we have a 2 3/4 by 5.5 inch piece of basic white. And we're going to stamp a whole background with the smaller DisINKtive flower. So let me clean that up a little bit. And we're going to start out, let's start out with Flirty Flamingo. So you notice that on the first card we use both the solid and the fill. The second card we used just the fill for the large flower. And then this third card we're using just that fill as well. So just those DisINKtive flowers. Next we're going to use Petal Pink. Now see how I'm getting just a little bit of, I don't know if it shows up, but there's just a little bit of blotchiness happening. I'm going to actually see if that will help if I use that same technique. Just push some of that aside, clean that up, and then let's stamp that last one and see if it makes a difference. Okay, can you see the difference between this one and this one? This one's kind of blotchy, a little blurry, has too much. This one up in the corner is nice and crisp and very detailed. You don't need a lot of ink to make those flowers look amazing. All right, we're going to finish up with some Polished Pink. And I think we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to stamp. I think this has too much. Yep, this has a lot of ink on it. Let me show you the difference. So we'll do one right here. Ooh, yuck. See how that's all blotchy? That doesn't look good at all. That's okay. We're just gonna, you can see on this one how much ink is on it. And it may not be that you even have a lot of ink. It could be you're just in a humid environment. That will also affect how much ink is right there on the top. So let's try again. And we'll just do a couple more. And you can see the difference. So much. I still have a little bit extra there that I could have pulled away, but you can see how the detail really starts to come out, and it's not quite as blotchy when you don't have that extra ink on there. So just a fun tip there. All right, let's finish up these flowers. We're going to put a ton of Pear Pizzazz little tiny leaves on here, so bear with me as I add these. Each flower is going to get a couple, one or two, just to kind of fill in that space. I love that pop of green. Whoops, there we go. Couple more. All right, I think we're good. Gives a lot of green throughout, fills in the blank spots a little bit. Now we're gonna layer that. And the thing I love about when you're stamping like that, you could stamp a whole sheet and cut it up, and it could be like designer series paper. Just make it really pretty. So I'm layering this on a 3 by 5.5 inch piece of Pear Pizzazz. And before we put that on our card base, I'm going to add a 4 1/4 inch by 1.5 inch piece of the In Color pattern paper. This is designer series paper, and it's in the polished pink. Add that to the bottom here just to give it a little bit of background texture. Also, before we tack that down, we're going to add a petal pink striped organdy ribbon. Again, just tying in a knot. I'm not fancy with bows. They frustrate me just like they frustrate many people. So I just do a quick bow with a double knot. And now we can add this layer to our card base. Oh, it's coming together so nicely. Okay, let's add a sentiment. We're going to make it really simple. We're going to use that heartfelt, sending heartfelt sympathy, and we'll stamp that in the polished pink, just on a scrap of basic white. And then I'm going to use my tailored tag punch. Pop that out. Put a couple of dimensionals behind there. And we'll finish up with a couple of elegant faceted jewels in the same petal pink. Just give it a little bit of bling there. All right, there is our third card. Ooh, I really love that one. I love those colors. Okay, I did another version. Did a blue version. And this one's with Balmy Blue, some fresh freesia in the back with Balmy Blue, fresh freesia, Highland Heather. The leaves are soft succulent. That background mat is soft succulent. I put some Highland Heather metallic ribbon across there, and then a Balmy Blue sentiment. And then we use the, what are they called? Now I can't remember. They're the pastel pearls that have the different colors of blues and purples in there. So pretty. So I love both of those cards. Which one do you like best? The pink or the blue? All right, that's our third card. This one will be in your 5-card kit. Okay. Our next one, another fun little technique. We're going to start with Sahara Sand this time for our background. And we're going to do a double time technique. I don't know if you've ever done this before, but I have a piece here. Let's give it a measure. This is 4.5 by 3 1/4. And we're going to just tack this down. Just a couple of little, if I can get it to go, there we go, pieces of seal. We don't want it to be too, you might even just kind of touch it so that it's not going to stick permanently. And we're going to put that right down on our card, right in the center. And then we're going to stamp on both layers at one time. We're going to use that outline stamp. Let's clean it up. And let's start with, we're going to start with Gorgeous Grape. Okay, again, figure out which petal you're going to kind of look at so that you know how. And you want to stamp the corner, and you want some of it to go onto your card base as well. So you're going to press, and make sure you press this outer part too so that it does get down to that card base layer. There you go. We're going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to flip this around so I can line it up with my special petal. Make sure that it's nice and stamped onto the edge. All right, we're going to clean that up. We're going to use a different ink for a couple more things here. But before we do that, we're going to take this off now. That's all we want to do, was just get a little bit there on the sides. Again, I'm just going to kind of put my dirty fingerprints all over here. Isn't that gross? Woo! It's because I have ink on there. Then we're going to stamp the same flower again with Rich Razzleberry. And we'll just kind of fill out the corners there. With my chamois. All right, now let's fill in a couple of these with our fresh freesia. So I'm going to find that special petal. Sorry, I'm trying to do this with the camera in the way, so I don't know if it's going to line up or not. Not too bad. So this time we're just going to add fresh freesia to the first two corners that we did. That's so pretty. All right. And that's all. We're going to keep the other ones just an outline, just for a different effect. We're going to layer that onto a 4 3/4 by 3 1/2 inch piece of Blackberry Bliss. Okay, then I have some Gorgeous Grape sheer ribbon. We're going to add that to our piece before we layer it onto our, before we mount it onto our card base. Trim off the edge. And then we're going to add this back to our card front with some dimensionals. Actually, I'm not going to use dimensionals. I'm going to use dimensionals for the sentiment, and I don't want it to get too high because the post office does not like it to get too thick. So this is just going to go right over the top. You can see if you had any spacing in between your two layers, that's going to get covered up by that matted layer. It's just a little bit off. I have to fix it. It's got to be straight. There we go. Now I've already die cut a little piece here. This is from the Pretty Pillow Box dies. Kind of a weird place to find a label, but that's where I really love that shape. So we're gonna use that. And the Rich Razzleberry. And we're gonna stamp that, make sure I have that inked, cleaned up from the last card. Sending Heartfelt Sympathy. And then we'll pop that up with a couple of dimensionals as well. There we go. And this time, you know we have to add a little bling. We always do. This one is going to just have some rhinestone jewels, basic rhinestones. And there we go. So there is the fourth card, another quick and simple way that you can use both the outline and the fills in one, and then also that fun double stamping for the edge. Let me show you another version. This is kind of a little more of a neutral look. This starts with mint macaron, and then I stamped in Memento Black for the two corners that did the double time stamping, and then gray granite for the outline stamps and gray granite for the fill. I used some gray granite shimmer ribbon and then popped up another mint macaron sentiment. So tell me which one you like better. And this is the one that's going to be in your card kit. Okay, we have one more that I want to share with you today. This one starts with soft seafoam, just the same basic 5.5 by 8.5 scored at 4 1/4. I did a background here that's 4 by 5 1/4, and then I die cut. I used the die cut. It's not really a die cut as much as it's kind of a, it's almost an embossing folder, but it gives some faux stitching, and it's that Pretty Petals, I believe it's called. I might be wrong. It's a die that does that beautiful faux stitching. I absolutely love that. It's a little bit, it's only one die in a set, so it's a little bit expensive, but I use it all the time. It's so amazing. We're going to add this to the background. And then I have a little base here that kind of a foundation for our focal point. This is 3.5 square. So we'll add that, and this is in Pear Pizzazz. We'll just add that right to the top. And then let's work on our focal point. So I used the Hippo and Friends dies to get this pretty die cut shape. It's almost a circle. It's not quite a circle, not quite a square, not quite an octagon. It's just really pretty. And we're going to add some pretty flowers to this. So we're going to start this time, and I'm going to need my chamois handy because we need to clean these up in between. We're going to start with Misty Moonlight. So this one, let me find my petal that I like to line up and put that on the top. All right, we're going to fill that with Misty Moonlight again, only this time we're going to stamp off once. We don't want it to be quite so dark. So stamp off once, and then line those up. There we go. Ooh, so pretty. I got this color combination by looking in the Stampin' Up! Catalog. If you're ever looking for inspiration for colors, that's a great resource for you. And this was a color combination that I would have never really thought of on my own, but I ended up really liking it. So we're going to add some of the outlines of the leaves around here. And then we'll add the fill image. And the fill is going to, the outline is in Pear Pizzazz. The fill image is going to be in soft seafoam, just to make it a little bit lighter. And also match the background, right? Oops, I have a little bit of sticky on my on my finger and it keeps picking that up. All right, there we go. Card with some dimensionals. So let's pop that up. I don't know what's going on here. The whole middle of this is not, do you see that? I've never had that happen. Have you guys? It's taking the whole background. All right, we'll line that up right here. And then we're going to add a pop of Bumblebee to this. This is, like I said, this is not a color combination I would have ever thought of before. It's not a go-to for me. Let's clean our small flower. We're going to stamp the small flower in Bumblebee on some scrap paper. So we'll do 2 of those, and then 2 of the fill images. And this is another instance where I could have scraped off a little bit of that ink because it's just a little bit blotchy. You just don't need much. All right, this is going to take a teeny bit of time. It's something I probably should have done ahead of time, right? I'm just going to do a little fussy cutting. I've had several people ask me, are there dies to go with the Delicate Dahlias? No, unfortunately, no. There's no dies, but the shapes are pretty, I don't know, they're somewhat easy to cut out. They're not the super easiest shape, but we get so spoiled, don't we, with all the dies that come with our flowers and our different shapes. But it really doesn't take much time to do just a couple of flowers. And you'll notice as I'm using my paper snips here, I pretty much keep my paper snips in one direction, and I'm kind of driving the paper. Instead of making my snips go around, I move the paper instead. I call it driving, but it's a lot of, if I move the paper and I'm just opening and closing my paper snips, it actually gives me a little bit more control. There we go. All right, we're going to add these to the bottom down here for a little pop of color. I'm going to use, let me get some mini dimensionals for this one. I'm just going to put one little mini dimensional on the side of each of these. Add a little bit of seal on the rest. Off, if I can get it off. Come on. There we go. So we'll put one over here. So that overlap part will be where the seal is. And then another one down here. And then we're going to finish up with a little sentiment up here at the top. I have a little piece of So Saffron. It's 2 1/4 by 1/2 inch. And it's the perfect size for that last sentiment from this set. We're going to use, if I can find it, my Misty Moonlight. Here we go. You inspire me. I don't like that. We're trying again. There's always a second chance on the other side. There we go. That's a little better. And then again, we're going to take just one little mini dimensional, put it on the end, and the rest is going to be seal. I'm going to line this edge up with the edge of my embossed layer. There we go. All right, let's finish that up with some of the Mango Melody rhinestones from the Holiday Rhinestones collection. There we go, just a little bit of sparkle. So there's the last card. That's so pretty. It's a color combination I never would have. It's lots of inspiration in their catalog. I did another version also using some color inspiration from the catalog. This one is in mint macaron. I used some bark embossing for the background, crumb cake. I stamped in fresh freesia, some mint macaron, some calypso coral, and then I have a petal pink sentiment layer there, and it's stamped in, I believe, gray granite. I don't know why I didn't do crumb cake, but I didn't. Anyway, and then I just have some champagne rhinestones for that. So those are two different versions of that last card. All right, let me show you one more time all of the cards that you're going to get in your kit. So, whoops, that's another one. That's a duplicate. Okay, let's do it like that. So these are all of the different cards that you'll get supplies for in your 5-card live class kit. And to earn that for free this week only, you just need to place a $35 order. You go to toocoolstamping.com, click on the Shop Now link. That's going to take you to my online store. Make sure that you use that host code. You're going to find a box to put that in on the checkout page, right at the top, right above where all the totals are. You're going to use that host code NBR3T7GR, and that is for this specific kit. So I know which one that you're interested in. And this will be available until next Wednesday, September 29th. Everything will mail out to you on October 4th. I hope you guys have really enjoyed this set. I couldn't pass it up. It was just one last thing I wanted to make sure that we covered before Sale-a-Bration was over with next week, and I know you're going to love it. Remember, you can earn that stamp set for free when you place a $100 order. You can select that as one of the Sale-a-Bration free items. All right, thanks so much for joining me for the Delicate Dahlias stamp class and another live class. Next week, we're going to do another Countdown to Christmas class. So you'll have 2 classes that you can choose from, either the 5-card live class or the 12-card Countdown to Christmas full class that you can register for beginning next week. So look for that, and I can't wait to stamp with you again at that time. All right, have a great week, everybody. Until I see you again, this is Angie with toocoolstamping.com. Bye-bye.